Story time!
Story time! Story time!
Story time! Story time! And then
Itch! Howdy, folks, and happy Thursday to everyone. My name is Timothy Vilgiati,
And I'm Christopher Fox,
and you're listening to Two Lies and One Truth.
a not-so-new storytelling podcast hosted on UCCS Radio.
On this show, we bring you 3 stories. Only one of them's true, and it's up to you to decide which one it is.
And we will never tell you.
We will tell you nothing.
Why would we?
That would almost make too much sense.
The theme of this episode is trips.
What kinds of trips, Chris?
Safe ones, like to the store and stuff.
Maybe the stories will be better than they first appear?
They always are. Music in this episode is from a personal favorite artist of mine. I first found out of him over 10 years ago in a paintball video by Dirter Productions known as Soldiers of Misfortune. He goes by the name of Ceschi, and the songs we are featuring are not in the genre I learned about him. He did a folk punk album that bridged him out of the hip-hop scene. He talks about real things. I highly recommend his work, bridging all the way back to a favorite of mine, In Disguise. We will link the songs featured on this episode, as well as how to find out more about Ceschi in the show notes on our website and other localities.
As always, if you have some neat songs or stories for our show, pitch us on Facebook at Two Lies and One Truth, or head over to our website, twoliesandonetruth.com, and fill out the form. We would love to hear from you. You can check out upcoming themes on the website, and we will announce the themes at the end of every episode. Enjoy the show. This one's a real trip.
When it's quiet, I'm forced to think about myself. So I'm speaking through the silence to nobody else. Pretty black fishy cat convinced me that it will be alright. Then claw my face off so I won't have to wash it tonight. Yeah, claw my face off so I won't have to wear it tonight. I've become what I've hated most, too many times to count. If I can't trust myself, then I won't trust a soul.
I did not stop eating meat for animals' rights, or any of the usual things, you see. In fact, I know very little about any of that. No. I became a vegetarian because I started to ask myself questions. These questions were prompted to me by myself while I was on drugs. Let's back up, though, to get some clarity on this situation. I used to love meat. I'd put bacon on my bacon, get the triple Whopper at Burger King, and I thought vegetarians and vegans were dumb. I actually started to date a vegetarian girl, and I invited her over for dinner. I cooked her homemade chicken parmesan, and she loved it. Needless to say, she was no longer a vegetarian. You see, I was so against the concept of not eating meat that I was converting people back to eating meat. I could have cared less about animals' rights or anything else about the food I was eating at the time. Now that we have a little perspective, let's fast forward to last year. Specifically, May of last year. It's my brother's wedding, and my sister-in-law has her lesbian best friend there. And the best friend obviously has her girlfriend. Amazing people, those two. Before they went back to California, the 3 of us hung out. They brought up topics I had never heard of in my life, and that encounter started to force me to look at myself in a way I had never done. Just the semester before, I took an art class that really made me think differently about life, like not wearing shoes or eating with my left hand. One time, I even ate with a knife just to experience eating with a knife. But the topics that those two brought up went far beyond just doing weird social things. They were bringing up deep spiritual and life things that fascinated me. It made me want what they had. They were just both so happy and aware of the moment. Before and honestly, well, after meeting those two, I was pretty heavy into drugs. I love them. I love drugs. I especially enjoyed acid. The first time I ever did acid was on accident because we were looking for Molly and just happened to find acid. Fell in love. But it really messed up my brain. I did too much, I think. That first weekend of acid was especially bad. This was because I broke up with that girl I had been dating, the ex-vegetarian girl, and I went off the deep end. She obviously started to hang out with other guys, and I couldn't take it because, well, we were on the same campus and saw each other a lot. I beat myself up a lot for breaking up with her, and I guess that could be one reason I got pretty far into drugs. But I know there were a lot. I was running and not dealing with stuff I knew I had. The first weekend after I broke up with the vegetarian girl, I did Molly on Thursday, which was the bee's knees. So I went looking for Molly again on Friday, but instead found her closely related cousin, Lucy. Saturday, I was still basically tripping for the better part of the day and slept through Saturday night, but Sunday came and I did cocaine for the first and only time. This was the life I lived before meeting that lesbian couple, and I went hard into it. The art class I took began to perk my mind to more, that I actually began to think again, but it was that conversation that pushed me down the rabbit hole. The conversation I had with those two ladies made me realize how into drugs I was. It was like looking in the mirror and not recognizing myself. So that conversation made me realize how stupid I actually was. And I had to do something about it. But I wasn't sure what. So I found critical thinking lectures and started to listen to them every night. I would listen to them until I fell asleep. And then the next night, I would pick right back up at where I left off. After a few nights of playing them as I went to sleep, the chance to do acid presented itself and I jumped on it. It didn't really occur to me at that point to go sober. It was my belief at that time if you were in a crossroads in life, just do some acid and the path would be clear. Or at least different. I could process thought beyond my immediate needs for the first time in a while, and due to this, I decided the time was right for acid, so I did acid, with my new critical thinking ability to back me up. I was going to find the right path to go on this crossroads. I took some acid with some others around dinner time, and so I made a tray of barbecue chicken legs and a few other things for dinner. I love to cook. The acid began to hit us real hard just before the chicken came out, and so doing some acid things with two of my friends at the time, we heard the ding and I pulled the chicken out. I was so excited. I mean, just staring at it, it looked so good. We waited for it to cool and then started to eat. One bite down. Oh, it was as good as it looked. So I'm now standing there in my kitchen with my two other friends on acid. We were all eating chicken legs. I was chewing on the first bite, looking around, thinking, wow, I'm tripping. My critical thinking ability was shot dead and not found at this point in time. It was just, though, in that moment that one of my friends started to laugh, and I was snapped to attention. I had to know why he was laughing, because I wanted to join in. He said no, I'd better not. But I pressed him, and he said it. Oh, look at all the veins and blood and stuff. This was alive. I then looked at where I had just bitten and saw what he was describing. This was once alive. Like the concept just hit me in the face. I've been eating live things. Freaked out, to say the least. Put the chicken leg down. We all did, and became vegetarians for the night. I was the only one to keep it up, though, after that night. This is because I got to thinking. A lot after that happened. Still tripping. My critical thinking ability came back to life in force. So much so that my mouth shut off. There was too much activity in the brain to do anything else but process and think. I thought that was alive and asked myself if I could have killed it. I asked myself if I could have killed and cooked that chicken. I answered myself that no, I could not. I then thought about modern society and the means of production and realized that society keeps more people alive than otherwise would be if left to nature, but that society needs those people to keep itself moving and operating because the majority of people are just consumers with little other purpose in life. I thought of thrift and greed and how our society keeps moving itself. I wondered if anyone could kill this and eat it, and then said, yes, of course. I mean, a lot of people do. But that's not me. I can't do it. I'm not the same as them, but I mean, in all honesty, I am the same as them. The only thing that would separate us or make us different would be our experiences and choices. So standing there in my kitchen, I began to understand life around me, and I hated it. I hated how things operated. I hated how stupid I was. I hated that I was on acid. I had so much hate in that moment, and I had to pull myself out, or I would have had a very, very bad trip, and those are no fun. It was hard, because I finally thought about the things around me. It wasn't that I could just go through the motions any longer. I hated myself, projected it back onto society. It was like modern society was a virus eating the people who kept it alive. It was like I was a virus that was eating people around me. I was not making anyone's life better. I wasn't changing anything. In fact, I ate this chicken that was once alive. I'm being more destructive to the world around me than I ought to be without bringing anything new or contributing in any way. I went deep and hard down this rabbit hole, and there is no coming back. I knew that I couldn't just cut myself off cold turkey, so I immediately stopped eating red meat and chicken. I told myself that I would do turkey and fish for a period of time, then cut off the turkey and only do fish. By August of last year, I cut off the fish and stuck to a partly vegan diet. I don't think this action will change the world. Forests will still get cut down. Fast food will still be a cancer on society. Most people will stay in the state of consumer until they are confronted with death and forced to contemplate that which is beyond them. I'm done with it all, though. I don't want to be stupid any longer. I don't want to do drugs, and I don't even know what that means, but I want to.
Animals biting chunks of each other's flesh reside inside my mind before I settle down to rest. There's images of people biting my neck, slicing my chest, and simmering my meat in fry pans for breakfast. With my dick and balls and guts ground up and stuffed into a sausage wrapper, grilled to a shade of Seattle gray, surrounded by their laughter. I can't trust myself, so I won't trust a soul. If they eat me, I will hunt them forever. Come back and virus form a parasitic worm. Intestines of all of my enemies will bleed. Then they'll regret the day they ever f***ed with me.
Are you a vegetarian?
I am.
When did you become a vegetarian?
Well, that's a story for another day. Anyway, next up we have a story of a very responsible trip to the store.
A very, very responsible trip to the store.
This story is written and performed by Timothy Vilgiati. Enjoy.
Today I stripped, squatted, and coughed like yesterday, and lifted my scrotum for cops who analyzed my asshole with the shame of a shitting dog. I gathered spit between lips, but swallowed it all. Don't fucking play with me, I am not in the mood, and lost 35 pounds because I will not eat this food. Read 40 books, wrote 55 poems.
Something felt really familiar. But, I mean, it's probably just because I come to this grocery store a lot. Probably come here more like maybe 500 times or something. I mean, it's really close to home. And it's also right next to the park, which is super great. I filled up my gas tank and I was taking care of errands to finish up the day and stuff. I wanted to hit the store before I went home since I needed a new toothbrush. My toothbrush right now looks like death. And it tastes like it too. For some reason, I'm always really bad at remembering to buy a new toothbrush. And that's probably because I'm just like really bad at brushing my teeth. Which is probably because I'm just really bad at a lot of things. I mean, except for planning for grocery shopping and longboarding, I've come to the conclusion that at most things I just generally suck. I mean, for example, my friend Darius let me borrow his Xbox 3 weeks ago. Accidentally, I spilled a bottle of Mountain Dew on it when I was trying to keep my cat away from the Fritos. Not since I hate my cat or anything, but because Fritos always give him really bad gas. And when my cat gets gas, I can't sleep because I suck at sleeping almost as bad as I suck at taking care of things my friends let me borrow, and my cat always sleeps with its asshole pointed right at my damn face. Tried to put the Xbox in a bag of rice for a little bit, and I told Darius I was just really busy babysitting my sister, even though my sister was at space camp. I was so embarrassed that I just kept ducking Darius over and over again, trying to scrape up enough money to buy him a new Xbox. When I turned the Xbox on after I'd taken it out of the rice, it showed an image, but it was clearly super broken since it only displayed things in Chinese and it wouldn't load past the save screen. I was totally devastated. I mean, what was worse? I only had like $200 from my last paycheck since the place I work is constantly on the brink of going out of business, and they don't want to give me too many hours so they can avoid paying for my health insurance. I didn't have the heart to call Darius. Darius kind of scares me. I mean, he's not that threatening, but he is actually really nice. It's just that I saw him play the drums once in his metal band, and ever since I spilled my Mountain Dew on his Xbox, I've been having nightmares about him beating me to death with his drumsticks. I needed to buy some gum, spinach, tortillas, bagels, cream cheese, ranch dressing, carrots, Fritos, Mountain Dew, and a toothbrush. Stretching my back as I left the car, I slammed the door shut and started galumping towards the store. Yawning, I looked down at my watch. It was 4:37. I probably had like 20 minutes before the acid kicked in. Oh, I should have mentioned that. It's been on my bucket list to try acid for a while, and I figured the park behind the store would be really cool to trip in. You have this mural where these little Eskimo-looking children all chase after a bear underneath a rainbow, and I've always felt like those little Eskimo children have super trippy eyes. If I ever get bored with that, though, there's another mural with some trees that I helped paint in 3rd grade. I can always spot my tree since it looks like a little shriveled up cat penis. So I'll look at that and I'll think about how much of a disappointment I am while I trip on acid. Sounds fun, right? My first thought when I entered the store was, it looks like the spinach is over there. But it was the spinach that you have to put in the bag yourself, and I don't have time for that. I couldn't find the pre-bagged spinach. It looked like they were out. Damn it. They were. Irritated, I pulled at my hair and shut my eyes, trying to think of what I could do. I didn't know why this was so stressful. I breathed deep and realized I didn't have a cart, so I went to go get a cart. There's a sort of hot girl by the carts, working on stacking bottles of Gatorade next to the big giant air conditioner thing at the entrance to the grocery store. I looked up into it, and suddenly I panicked as I realized it was pulling me up. I ran away. Oh, I guess the acid's kicking in. Oh, but the guy who sold me this said it was really mellow acid, and he's the same guy who sold me the bootleg Japanese Pokemon game and an ounce of really good weed, so I know he's trustworthy. I figured I could probably pull off this shopping trip, even if it meant I might have to do it on acid. I grabbed a cart and I headed in, trying to keep my head down so I could avoid being freaked out by the air conditioner again. The cart's wheel squeaked way too much, and the sound made me want to murder someone, so I went back and I got another cart. The hot girl looked at me, since I guess I looked a little bit intense. This cart's full of noise and I hate it. I almost spat at her. My voice seemed weird. I guess it seemed weird to her, too. She started frowning, and I got really sad. Please don't cry. It's not your fault that I suck. She smirked. Shaking, I grabbed another cart. Thankfully, this one was a lot better. It was a little bit heavy on one side, but it was the sort of thing I could deal with, you know? You can't expect every shopping cart you pick up to be perfect. Just like you can't always get the pre-bagged spinach, and sometimes you do the best you can, and even if you mean well, it's not good enough, and a million thoughts started flooding through my mind about life and the universe and, like, everything as I grabbed 6 bundles of loose-leaf spinach in a wholehearted embrace of destiny. I was tripping balls, man. The spinach was breathing, and I could tell for a moment it was alive, or at least dying. It was like a little baby. It was sleeping, and here I was. I was about to take it home, and I was going to eat it. I held the spinach up to my face and whispered to it through the bag. I'm so sorry, I said, as I put the spinach down into the bag. I caught sight of someone familiar, someone menacing, someone who looked like they wanted to kill me. It was Darius, sitting appropriately down by the butcher's and leering at me. He knew what I'd done. He was gonna come after me and take his revenge, and I'd wake up in an ER room where I'd be so brain damaged, traumatized, that I'd forget how to wipe my own butthole and I'd have a seizure every time I saw a drumstick. Mortified beyond belief, my hair stood on end. Darius started towards me, moving like a terrifying, bloodthirsty monster. He had a pentagram on his wrist, which I could see clearly. Oh my god. He must be some kind of satanic freak. I looked at his long, knotted hair, and I imagined him washing it in the blood of children and people who don't take care of his stuff before kneeling before a candlelit altar and uttering prayers to Lucifer. I bolted away, running with my cart through a line of old people waiting to buy lotto tickets, and headed towards the deli. I hid there in the deli behind a display of nice cheeses for about 5 minutes before I stood up, coming to grips with myself. As I did so, I caught sight of the myriad cheeses in the display. Gouda, Blue, Parmesan. Some of them with fanciful names I couldn't even pronounce. Like I held them up in front of me. No one had to suffer to make these cheeses. Why did I ever eat anything else? I wondered what it'd be like to only eat cheese. Before I resolved to make that daring life choice, and I filled the bottom of my cart with cheese. You sure like cheese, don't you, buddy? Asked the attendant. I looked up at him. He was judging me. He didn't understand. He was making fun of me. I got very angry. I eat cheese because I don't like murder, I growled. Over his shoulder, I caught sight of Darius again, emerging from the cereal aisle, murderously clutching a box of Lucky Charms. I whispered to the customer service person, "That man wants to kill me. I need to run." My heart pounding, I made my way back to the place where they have bagels. Realizing that bagels probably didn't have to suffer in order to exist, I got a dozen bagels, and then, Thinking that Darius could read my mind, I tried to think intensely about buying potatoes so that he'd go to the potatoes while I looked for tortillas instead. I really like the whole grain tortillas because they make me feel more culturally savvy. Unfortunately, I realized that the tortillas were right next to the potatoes a little bit too late, and sure enough, Darius was now making his way down the tortilla aisle, a demonic and sinister smile on his face. I wondered what powers he'd gotten from Satan other than reading minds. In order to avoid seeming suspicious, I grabbed potatoes, even though I think potatoes suck in real life, to try and throw Darius off my trail. Casually, I turned around and began to focus on the next items on my list. But that's when it hit me. I was tripping on acid. I was probably imagining Darius was there. It was my guilt, personified in some strange, ethereal hallucination. Still hustling, I tried to pretend Darius wasn't creeping closer and closer to me and searched through the granola bars. It gave me relief to think he was just a figment of my imagination. I mean, from time to time, I'd look at something and almost scream when I thought I felt Darius's icy cold breath on the back of my neck. But he wasn't coming for me. It was just a hallucination. He appeared at the end of the aisle just then, this time with a cart, and upon seeing me, his face began to shapeshift. I didn't know for sure, but it felt real. Maybe my mom and my youth pastor were right. Maybe LSD does open portals for demonic influence. This was the devil, masquerading as my friend. I became so certain of it. He lured me into the psychedelic world in order to drag me into hell. On the news, they'd report it as a mysterious suicide or a heart attack. Only myself and the devil would know the truth. I shoved the cart towards him to throw him off, and I ran. Not today, Satan. Not today. Today I was going to live. I ran towards the back of the store, back towards the butcher shop where I'd first seen Darius, and I dove for the employee section. Someone went back to try to stop me. I kept running. Now that I recognized the disguise, though, Satan was right behind me, looming over me and pursuing me like a shadow. I ran through row upon row of shelving before cowering behind the paper towels. 3 employees were looking after me. Were looking for me. What could I do? I saw an exit sign. A bright green one. Breathing in deeply, I made a run for it, crashing into the bar and heading to a ravine that separated the park from the store. I slid down the edge and landed really weird on my hip. Oh, it hurt so bad. Oh, I was dead. I must have been dead. The devil is coming for me.
Michael,
I heard a voice in my head tell me,
you must pay your friend for forgiveness, or I will take your soul.
what would happen if I let the devil take my soul?
You'll become my slave. Do it now.
Panting heavily, I pulled up my cell phone and flipped it open, dialing Darius's number. Oh, hey dude, what's up? He asked. I spilled my own Xbox. I tried to fix it. I did. My cat was trying to eat my Fritos, and I didn't want to get cats again, so I had to. I didn't mean to. I just had to. I didn't have a choice, man. I'm so sorry. Darius laughed. Dude, it's totally chill, man. I did the same thing last month. I legit just saw you in the store, man. I was gonna see if you wanted to chill. Are you okay? I took some acid, and I thought you wanted to kill me. I guess that really was you, though. Oh, dude, you're tripping. Yeah, I am. Ah, nice. Oh, let's go hang out at the park, dude. That mural with the weird Eskimo kids looks really cool when you're tripping.
Don't fucking stare at me. I am not in the mood. And Just saw some kid's face get mashed and bloody like it just came out the womb. These power structures are not real, but you're feeling that you're better than me because of your job. You're cleaning toilet bowls and pissy shit steak-made boxer shorts locked up. You're no boss, you're a slave. They want us to believe that some of us are greater than others, and here that it's all distracting us from the fact that we're all lower than humans in the eyes of society. Today I stripped, squatted, and coughed like yesterday, and lifted my scrotum for cops who analyzed my asshole with the shame of a shitting dog. I gathered spit between lips, but swallowed it all.
So that's what happened to my Xbox.
Oh, no, that's totally unrelated. Totally unrelated.
Are you sure? That seemed pretty...
Lies. Lies. Anyway, can you tell us about this next story?
Okay, well, we're going to talk about this more later, but with this next story, just sit back and take the ride. You might just learn something.
Na 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 na. Termites are eating my home and squirrels laugh at me through the walls. I hate to admit it, but most days I wake up and follow the laws. And I used to dream my beliefs would lead me onto barricades with Molotovs. But most days they lead me straight to a line at the post office to send zines to someone behind bars.
Na 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 na. This city is killing me. Pretty sure New Haven PD wants all of my friends to go down. I walked onto Whaley and think of my fellow felons sleeping on overcrowded room grounds. My girlfriend can't handle the lifestyle I lead, so I wander around this country, sleep on couches, play shows to 20 kids, hoping they'll house me. Sorry, I'm allergic to cats. Na 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 na.
So, how does it end? I die. Alright, well... How does it begin then? Birth? Okay. What happens in between? Life. Life. Why is life interesting? Because it is? Oh, well, that doesn't make sense. Where am I now? You know, silence isn't really an answer. No, I see what you're showing me, but it doesn't answer my question. Try what now? Walk. How do I walk? Oh. Or just walk. Can you change the scenery? This foggy blackness is pretty dull. Yeah, like that. I like the forest, see? A forest path is cool. I'm on a forest path. That wasn't so hard. So, I just keep walking? Until I can't. What do you mean? Do you mean like right now? Yeah, there's multiple directions. Where do I go? What do you mean it's up to me? I just choose? Well, how do I know I've made the right choice? I don't. Well, that doesn't seem like fun. It's not supposed to be fun? What? It just is. You don't make a lot of sense, whatever you are. Well, alright. So I'll go this way. And I just keep walking. If that's the way I want to go, yeah, it is. I am going, chill. Okay. Yeah, you see? I'm walking this way. Now what? This isn't fun if you just keep repeating the same stuff. Walk until I can't. What? Then I just go to another split in the path and choose again? Endless choices because it is. That's lame. Give me something new. Yeah, yeah, like that. Edge of a cliff is new. See, I can't walk anymore. What do I do now? Fly. How do I fly? Do you mean fall? If I keep walking, I'll fall. If I believe it? That's weird. So, if I believe I can fly, then I can fly? For now. Well, what if I want to fly later? If I want to fly later, I have to believe I'm the same as air? I'm not the same as air. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't go away. I need help here. This is all new. Okay, so I'll take your word or mind vision or whatever it is you're doing to me. So if I want to fly later, I believe I'm air. I believe I'm Earth? What? Don't go so fast. I'm Earth? No, I'm Chris. Now you show me the galaxy? What? What? Are you trying to say think bigger? And now we're back here? Okay. So I fly. Just run and jump if I believe. And you'll help me? Just this time though, right? Yeah. You don't really have much of a sense of humor, do you? Are you there? So I just run and jump and I'm not falling. So I just fly then. There's no path. Hey, there's no path. Where do I go? Anywhere. Okay, well, how about this direction? Could you clear the clouds a bit so I could see the ground? I mean, what's the use of flying around if you can't see anything? Yeah, like that. That's cool. Thanks, I guess. Well, this is really cool, but now what? What do you mean, why do I always need something? I am content. I am happy. No, I just mean... What do I mean? It, could I stop flying and just sit? Thanks. I just need to sit. Uh, can I ask you something? Well, something different. I, I don't know why I asked permission this time. This all just hit me. If I die, what's the point? Okay, so I kind of remember those symbols from logic. Are you trying to say if life, then death? That's duality. Is there more? There's a lot more, huh? Why, though? Now you're silent. No, you've already shown me the Earth, yeup, and the galaxy. I don't get it. I've told you that. Try something else. Okay. That's a seed. Yeah, you put it in the ground and then... Whoa. Is that a tree? It's a cycle. It's a cycle, but why? It just is. It just is. If life then death, and it just is. Do I stay here forever? No. Why not? I'm on a trip? I don't remember taking a trip. What is this place? You can't always go silent on the big questions, you know. Or keep showing me the same things. Yes, you've shown me the Earth and the galaxy. Wait, Are we on Earth? Yes. How? An onion. I don't get you, whatever you are. So when do I go back? Now. How? And as quick as it began, it was over. Whoa! Put the phone down! Look, he's back! I was in a room. Familiar faces near me, but I didn't really know them. The faces showed excitement. I could see that eagerness, but why? How was it? How was what? I responded, my head pounding like I just got up from a hard night of drinking. I started to rub my eyes, trying to adjust to the dim light of the room. The DMT, dude. Come on, don't hold out. That's what that was? How long have I been out? Only like 5 minutes, dude. We almost called an ambulance. We weren't even sure you were alive. Your eyes were all rolling in the back of your head. It looked like you were ODing. Glad you're back, man. What'd you see? How was it? Was it like the videos? How could I explain it to them? This room full of familiar faces becoming more familiar as I was present in the room longer. All drug addicts. Me, myself, a drug addict, who would believe me? How could I express the philosophical complexities of life learned in a 5-minute DMT trip? I couldn't. I knew that. I knew a lot now. I couldn't process it all. I couldn't process anything. Hey, you alright? How was it? It was... Words trailing back into the void of zombie stares, unbelieving in the state of reality as it was presented. It was... Words moving into memory of what it all meant. It meant more than I could process. The day before, we got the DMT, did our research on how to smoke it and what others experienced. I was brave enough to try it first. Time started to become clear. All times coming together. How many choices off that path of yesterday still led here? Could I have walked away? Could I walk away? Hey, dude! Do we need to call an ambulance? What's up? How was it? It was truth. Silence. Then laughter. It's what drug addicts do. Laugh life away. They didn't get it. Even if they smoke the stuff, they might never get it. So I got up. I walked. Walked like my limbs had never worked before, steadily picking up pace. The room, the house was too much. It was too small. I started to run. I ran out the door. It didn't matter in what direction. I started to run. And I haven't stopped running.
Some just talk a good game, I can't even do that. Some just wanna look cool, I don't even wear black. Some just want an excuse for crime and destruction. I'm too afraid to shoplift, cause last time I got busted and
I can promise you this, Officer Smith, you don't need to piss test me or rearrest me. I'm just playing these shows, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Please give me my license back. I no longer sell crack, I'm just 33, rapping broke, trying my hardest to cope on the road. Almost all of my homies know that. Na 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 na.
What a trip.
Or was it?
That story was written by Christopher Fox and read by himself, and that wraps up this episode. Listen next week for stories about parking. Then on April 20th, we'll have stories about weed. The date was too perfect. And on April 27th, the theme is school.
As always, if you have stories that you would like to pitch to our show, pitch us on Facebook at 2 Lies and One Truth, or go to our website at 2liesandonetruth.com.
Also, if you'd like to have your music featured, please follow the same process.
Music on this episode was from Ceschi. He'll be in Denver on May 7th, and mentioned to us that he'll be going down to the Springs on May 8th. We'll link his social media and ways that you can get in contact with him. The songs themselves are off his split with Pat the Bunny. It was released on 12-inch vinyl and can't be found elsewhere. The album itself is sold out, but keep posted on Ceschi's social media for his work. The dude is seriously talented.
We will shoot the family dog in the backyard, and then tell the kids we dropped it off down at the dairy farm. Screaming from the forest sounds like 50 babies being murdered in Italian horror films about baby murders. Pretty all-black fisher cats sing songs of rage, 'cause the world is dark and unfair and you haven't found a mate. While you cry and sink with crows at 6 on board and forced to think about the cycle of life and all that bullshit. When it's quiet, I'm forced to think about myself, so I'm speaking through the silence to nobody else. Pretty black fishy cat convinced me that it will be alright, then claw my face off so I won't have to wash it tonight. Yeah, claw my face off so I won't have to wear it tonight. I've become what I've hated most, too many times to count. If I can't trust myself, then I won't trust a soul. Animals biting chunks of each other's flesh or reside inside my mind before I settle down to rest. There's images of people biting my neck, slicing my chest, and simmering my meat in fry pans for breakfast. With my dick and balls and guts ground up and stuffed into a sausage wrapper, grilled to a shade of Seattle gray, surrounded by their laughter. I can't trust myself, so I won't trust a soul.